Good morning, everybody. My name is Anicio Rezin. This is our Sunday spiritual meeting from the Spirit Society of San Diego. And I just want to welcome everybody and get ready. So we are still in our with our presidential meetings not taking place, of course, because of the pandemic and because of all that's going on. But we're doing it online right now, so we're gonna reserve this next few minutes to talk about spirituality and get our minds wrapped around the challenge that we're facing, and hopefully receiving and opening ourselves to get some energy, some connection with the divine, as we always try to do every Sunday morning. And with that in mind, let's get started, and let me ask Miriam, if you can, to say our opening prayer for this morning.
Hi.
Hello.
I will read something from the book Happy Life. It's a very short message. I open here on passage number 156, CLVI. And it says like this: make it a habit to tell the truth. The white lie habit is a gateway to more serious ones, pushing you toward the quagmire of libel, and slander. A single spark produces the same blaze as a crackling flame. Major crimes begin as misdemeanors overlooked by justice, which make for a more severe offense. Be morally demanding of yourself. Don't climb into the boat of general conventions. Every person must answer for him or herself, and each deed leaves a mark on the conscience. Don't stop being yourself as you morally progress. Okay, so this is our message. Today, make it a habit to tell the truth. So let's start our prayer this morning. Being so grateful for this beautiful day. So grateful for all of us being here together, united in minds and in our hearts, even though we are physically apart. Thank you, God, for giving us so many opportunities for growth. Thank you for making us resilient. Thank you for giving us patience and tolerance and strength when we need them the most. Thank you for making us ready to fight for the good and for the people whenever we have the chance. We ask your blessings, your light, your love, your compassion and mercy every day of our lives. Because we are imperfect beings, but we are in search for the truth, for your true love. And we need to progress, we need to be better, we need to make a better world. Please give us hope in a better future and make us understand that the power to make a better future is in our hands. We can do it if we really believe in it. Please, God, make us be more compassionate towards one another. Make us feel other people's pains and make us more understanding and more loving. Thank you for enlightening us every day and for renewing our energies every time the sun rises. Thank you for all the blessings and opportunities. And once again, thank you for allowing us to be here together. We ask your blessing for this meeting that we are starting now. And may we all be united in your name for this whole next week. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much. That's very well connected what we're going to be talking about today, right? Um, so always we try to talk about get inspiration for the talk in one of the chapters we kind of open randomly in the Gospel according to Spiritism. And today we got chapter 5, Blessed are the Afflicted. And it's a very long chapter. It's a very, very long chapter. Blessed are the Afflicted. It's one of the longest probably in the book. One of them. And affliction is something that causes pain and suffering. And when we say blessed are the afflicted, when the gospel, when Jesus said that, it was in part of one of the blessings. So it's sort of an indication of what a life is life on earth kind of expected. And in a sense, we might think about that as a kind of a negative connotation. Why affliction? Why suffering? Why pain? It's so pervasive on earth, right? And why we have to deal with that? Why this has to be blessed? And we're going to try to talk about that a little bit, right? Why the gospel emphasizes so much that part, that emotion, those difficulties of our life. And to get things started, let's talk a little bit about compassion. I didn't even mention that during the prayers. So, what is this compassion thing? Let's just to get started. Compassion is when I can look at other person, I can see somebody else, see what they're going through, and connect with them. So, and see that if they're going through a very powerful, positive experience, I can feel that as well. Or if they're going through a very difficult and painful experience, I feel for that as well, without necessarily being involved, without necessarily being part of it, may or may not, right? But compassion fundamentally connects us, right? Unites us. When we see, and this is actually even scientists have done some work with biology and human beings, because we're social, we tend to be, there's even some instruments in our biology, in our brain, that generate empathy to each other. We have that. There's even some experimentation when we see somebody having pain. We do feel pain sometimes. There's some biological systems that emphasize that. But we're now talking about uh, we in this movement, in our movement of spirituality, we bring the perspective that we're not just the biology, we are actually souls, we're spirits, we have this essence that truly is what we are. It's where our minds manifest. So for us, the core of the teachings is we are truly spirits. We call it spirit. Maybe science will eventually come with different names for what this essence is, that doesn't die with the body and was born before, was existed before our bodies were born, right? And that is the perspective we try to bring to this discussion, right? Because compassion, when through the biology, it seems to be like an evolutionary strategy from that our species evolved. But for us, it's something even more deeper, even more connected to us. Because why compassion is so important is because I'm a soul and I'm a spirit. All the experiences other people will go through or are maybe going through right now could be mine in the future. Because an experience in the flesh, an experience in the flesh is simply that. It's an experience I'm going through with the body I have been given at this point in time. If you look at me right now, I look a certain way. I'm a male, right? I have a skin color, a specific skin color. I have a specific background. This is my life. This my current experience. And when we look at ourselves, we look at ourselves in the mirror. When we think about us, that's what we see. The vast majority of us, we see that being, that biological being, right in front of us, and we identify with that. And that's who I am. But what the gospel is trying to tell us right now, what Jesus is talking to us, what Spiritism is bringing to us, is that that's not true. That's not who you are. That's just the current experience, what you're going through in this very life. But it's not who you are. In fact, we claim for a fact that we have had many lives before. We lived before, right? And we had different faces, we have different bodies, we have different perspectives, different genders. Who knows? So we transcend that. So that's why compassion is so important for us, because truly, truly, if you think about on a global scale in all experiences we have on this planet, right? We all could in the next life be in any sort of experience that exists on Earth. My next life can be anywhere in this planet. So the moment this planet evolve in terms of that every single human being, every single person that lives on Earth has a decent life, right? Has an opportunity to have freedom or an expand or a manifestation of a positive life. We reach it. We made it, because then all lives on Earth are positive. We have this positive experience. But if half of the planet or billions of people have no opportunity, have no have imposed to them a very draconian or suffer tremendously, that opens the door that it could be us next time. And that's the simple consequence of having a soul that never dies, any being on this planet. We could be in any experience anyone around us is facing right now, right? So how many of us are facing challenges with health, facing challenges with um, financial, with emotional challenges? All those people we see around us right now, all the challenges that they might be facing, they might not be ours in this moment. And compassion unites us with them, because it might be us in the next moment. It might be what we're going through. And this is a very practical, very even selfish perspective, but it's true, right? If you struggle with compassion, if you can't see yourself in others, this is a very clear way to provide that guideline, right? Because it could be you, literally, not figuratively, not figuratively. It can be you. Like if you have a preconceived idea against someone because of the way they look or the way what they believe, it might be literally you in the next life, or who knows. So compassion is the beginning, is when we start now embracing other people through their experiences they're going through, and we see ourselves in others, and then we begin our journey. If you accept that, what is this journey of spirituality? Is waking up exactly that. It's a waking up compassion, and the gospel actually goes way further, way beyond compassion. What is the major commandment of Christianity, of Jesus' teachings, right? So what is the one major commandment? Love thy neighbor as yourself. Love God above all things, and love your neighbor as yourself. So it's not just compassion. It's then the extent of expressing love towards others and ourselves, which is the pinnacle of compassion, is when you not just connect with the other individual, not just respect, not just embrace the other individual, you love this other individual. You would sacrifice to the point of your own causing pain to yourself, or to causing damage or complications to you, to do the best for that individual as well. And that's what the gospel is telling us. That's the direction we're going, right? And where are we right now on earth in terms of the manifestation of this love? I don't know if you agree with me, guys, but this is still rare. And we're given opportunities. I think we all have opportunities to develop loving relationships in our families, with, maybe through, hopefully with parenthood. But we have all sorts of opportunities to manifest these loving relationships, but they are scarce and rare, right? We're working more on compassion. And if you think about even compassion, there's a large swath of people that live on earth that don't even embrace compassion. We have right now the affloration of many of those hateful ideologies that are coming back to earth right now, that simply can't see compassion. It's just me against them. It's the separation, it's the splitting, it's putting us in buckets, classifying people in good people and bad people. And that's the recipe, right? It's the recipe for disasters, for tragedy, because eventually, if I don't see the other individual as connected to me, I can do anything to them, right? All sorts of hateful, destructive ideologies take place then, because they are the enemy. They're not connected to me. There's nothing that unites us. And our movement goes in the opposite direction, and the gospel is the pinnacle of that, when we actually develop loving relationships with others. And you can just imagine for a moment, just what would happen to earth, to this planet, if loving relationships were the commonplace, right? If imagine if at the extreme, where we're all individuals on this planet were loving, pretty much none of the problems we have today would exist. Pretty much none. None of the major issues we have right now on earth would exist. None. They all be solved. We would be working at a different level, different scale. We would be producing things that we don't even imagine right now, if all the basic problems we have right now wouldn't exist at all. But that's not where we are right now. So we are in the early stages of, we're still working on basic compassion. That's why, knowing that, right, and by Jesus knowing us, right, knowing the kind of experience we're going to go through, is preparing us. And that's why blessed are the afflicted, because a life on earth right now is a life of affliction if you're trying to improve spiritually, if you're trying to develop this compassion, if you're trying to grow in your awareness, in connecting with divinity, in preparing your life, living your life not just as a one swat of time, as long as your body is alive, but like a being that will live, transcending all borders of biology, right? And why is that? Because we can say there's two challenges, right? One is the imperfections we all carry. What happened when you embrace compassion and you give spirituality? I don't know about you. Hopefully you don't. But I myself, like for instance, I connect with all these teachings. I truly believe we are spirits. I truly believe we are not going to die. I truly believe that, and I don't have any challenge with those concepts. and God is an obvious thing to me. But still, when I try to manifest this in my life, this compassion in my life, I struggle with my own imperfections. Like, for instance, the lack of patience, right? How many times we struggle with patience with our loved ones, with our families? Discipline to implement the work we're supposed to do, putting the proper effort, balancing my emotions, right? So those are the imperfections we carry ourselves uh, we they're barriers to our own happiness and barriers to the work we're supposed to do to our communities, to our families. Okay? Those are the imperfections, and we're here working on those, and they become source of afflictions, and that's okay, because if I'm working on my imperfections, that's exactly what I'm supposed to do, right? It's not an easy way. The easy way would be just to relax and, this is the way I am. So be, condescendent to my current behaviors, to my current state of mind, and say, this is who I am, and that's it. I'm not going to do anything. That's comfortable in a sense. It's, and it's maybe not as painful, but it's not progressing. I'm not taking advantage of any of this imperfection or any of these opportunities I have to grow spiritually. And yet, my life may be will go the same path as I'm going to go through all the pain, the experience of life, and eventually lose my body, right? As happens to all of us. And maybe the pain will be even greater of a lost opportunity, not developing the relationships, the love, the compassion I could have, right? But momentarily in the flesh, it may be comfortable. That's why the afflictions of dealing with our own imperfections. And by the way, those are the most important afflictions. The afflictions when we deal with our own imperfections. The afflictions that we have from the imperfections of others, right, are also teaching us. But there's not much we can do about the imperfection of others. Usually, the imperfection of others brings something on us, and that's where we work on. Right? That's where we should be working on. That's the invitation. We all are ace. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty good at spotting the imperfections on others. It's pretty easy, right? And sometimes that's where we dwell. That's not the point. We cannot fix anybody. Nobody can fix somebody else. The spiritual growth is an inner process, right? We become models in our community. We become instruments of positive growth around us, but the growth only happens when the individual decides it. So if somebody is annoying us or causing us pain, let's look within ourselves what is allowing that to happen, right? And that's our work, right? What we should do to minimize that. So, then even when you when we are able to remove those imperfections from our way, let's say we are now at a higher stage of evolution, and we have patience, control, we have our emotions in balance, we don't let people control us through emotional distress, so we're balanced, we're doing our best, we're actually disciplined, and we are actually taking the proper actions we have in our life, and let's say we're doing well spiritually. So then afflictions might not come to us, and that's not the case at all, right? Actually, those that are in higher spiritual awareness and are already working not just in compassion but working on love, right? What happens to them? Well, on earth we have those that we love that are behind, that have left behind, that are not even started, did not even started this journey. And so our relationships are important to us. We build them, and they still are, even if our imperfections are not a major factor um, anymore. The imperfections of others still bring pain and suffering to us, in a sense that, although balanced, which parent, which um, person that loves somebody else, would be fully happy when those we love are still left behind, are still engaged in destruction, right? Yes, so we achieve our balance, but those we love are still there, and that's still a source of affliction. And on earth, um, even if we manage to grow spiritually, our loved ones may or may not have done that yet. So that's why Earth, in a sense, for all those that have engaged in spiritual growth, is a place of pain and affliction, because um, the experiences is still conducive to that. Not necessarily for those that are fully engaged in biology, fully engaged in the, because if your focus is just around getting money, you might succeed, you might accumulate lots of wealth, right? And that's maybe brings your health. And then of course, we believe that the spirituality is a law of nature, is part of it, the way it is. So eventually you're going to deal with the consequence of that in one way or another, depending on what it is necessary for your growth, right? But in that moment, so you might not have any affliction because you are actually channeling a certain perspective on something that's transitory. And a typical one, for if you like, let's say you focus just on wealth, like say my happiness or my goal, my everything is really just this accumulation of wealth, and that makes me happy. What is the natural consequence of that? The unavoidable separation of all my wealth that's going to happen to me at some point in at some point in time in the future. And seldomly people prepare for that, especially if you spend all your life accumulating. If that comes to an end and you're separated, it's usually a very traumatic experience. And that's what we say. That's going to happen to all of us because we don't die. The biology dies, the body doesn't. And as simple as that, right? So that's why we're not supposed to play God for all. Don't forget that nature takes care of all of us. So God loves every single individual, every single one of us, every single creature, right? So we're being taken care of, right? So we shouldn't play God as well. Everybody has their own time, but the main goal for me is to start working on myself now, working on me right now, so I manifest those things right now to my community, and be mindful that God is in charge of all of us. So we might not be able to necessarily affect all the people we want. Um, Usually the real work for the vast majority of us, spirits of earth, people of earth, for the vast majority of us, we have enough imperfections on ourselves, enough things that block our own growth, that it's enough work for ourselves, for a life or many lives still, depending on how things are going. uh, with that in mind, let's kind of we're not gonna. This is a very long chapter. I invite you to read chapter 5 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. Has many more details over there and many more preparations, especially with extreme suffering, how to deal with some of the very powerful experiences some people go through. I suggest you read, especially if you're going through an affliction. Right, be aware that if this is a very painful moment for you, I know it sounds bad. I know that if you listen to this and like, oh my goodness, now things are really bad, really really bad right now. I'm in a deep deep hole. Uh, um, Understand that that might be a moment of growth for you. That might be a moment of growth for you. It's not necessarily bad in the long run. It's like that difficult step that you have to go through. And there are things that are making your suffering worse. Let's work on those. Find where the source of your pain is, because it's not outside. It's not outside. This really painful source, the powerful source of pain and suffering, is it within ourselves? Because it's something outside maybe causing that. There's something, right? Right. I'm gonna say something. It's one of the most painful things right now. One of the more painful experiences, especially if you're young, is your relationships. When somebody break with you, like you have a relationship, when you invest in a relationship, a romantic relationship, like for instance, and you think you love this person, or you think this person is like everything for you, and doesn't work. This relationship for some reason doesn't work. The other person goes away or breaks it, and the pain is so intense sometimes that people contemplate the most complicated and destructive situations. But look in yourself and see if you're experiencing that pain. um, the pain is truly coming from you, because you're not accepting that somebody might choose not to be with you, right? And this is normal. It happens to everybody. Well, we have 7-8 billion incarnates on earth, and God knows how many that are not in the flesh right now, right? So a person might choose not to be with me. It's fine, right? And eventually I'm going to find someone that does, because naturally we will eventually evolve into love. But if this is not the time right now, if this is not the moment, right, chances are there are things I have to work on myself. And especially if you cannot be with yourself, don't try to get somebody else to fulfill that void, because there's a problem. Many people just move relationship from relationship to relationship, trying to fill the void that usually is there inside of them. If you cannot be alone, it's because there's a problem there. So remember, all those painful experiences we're going through right now, they're really teaching us something about ourselves. Yes, the other person may have done something wrong, maybe inappropriate, may have done, yes, but I'm not saying anything against that. It's true. But the experience, the painful experience, is coming to you because it's coming to us because there's something we have to learn about ourselves. Let's focus on that. Let's figure that out. And you see, that eventually the pain will go away. And once we become aware, it might take time to deal with that. Maybe, whatever it is, right? Whatever is insecurity, whatever it's ego, whatever is there, fear, whatever is there causing all those, emotions in ourselves. With that in mind, let's move to our meditation and passes right now, right? Uh, Hopefully, you guys can hear a little music in the background. And let's transition now, kind of calm down. Take a deep breath. And despite all that's going on, all the things we have talked, let's just take a moment for ourselves now. Mother, Father God, despite all that might be going on right now, let me take a moment to be with myself and just open my heart and my mind to feel your presence. To simply feel your divine presence in my life. Let me just quietly be present in the moment. No matter what thoughts come to me right now, I just allow them to slowly flow away. Where I just feel your divine presence. And in this moment, this presence is your hand, is your embrace, that connects us to one universal family. Let this energy flow from head to toe, cleansing and embracing and touching every single cell of our body, our soul, our spirits, until it washes away what we don't need, cleanses, re-energizes, and reinvigorates. So getting us ready to continue our journey to the point where gratitude, yes, gratitude, starts to shine out of our hearts, out of our minds. Thank you, Divine Creator. Thank you very much for this moment, for this life, for this opportunity. And with that in mind, we humbly ask permission to move to our closing prayer this morning.
With our hearts full of gratitude, we thank God for creating us and all that has been given to us. We thank Jesus for taking care of us, for taking care of our planet, for holding our hands at this time of so much challenge in His planet that it is ours as well. Thank you for all our spirit guides and protectors that are with us tireless, even though we're so stubborn and we take so many different roads that we shouldn't. They're still there, guiding us and bring us to the right direction. Thank you so much for all the healings and all the guidance and all the blessings. Thank you for all the people that are in our lives, all the relationships, the challenging ones, the loving ones, and especially the relationship with ourselves. May we be able to develop that each day more a loving one. So as Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So we ask help, our guides, to help us to persist on developing compassion and love for one another. And compassion and love towards ourselves as well. Thank you so much. May Jesus bless all of us. Thank you. So be it.
Thank you very much, Hajimara, for your words. Thank you very much, everybody. This is it for our Sunday spiritual meeting. Hope to see you next week.